tables on your web page. Some of the things that you may want to use tables for are for formatting data on your website, such as lists of names and telephone numbers and email addresses, rather than just typing them in manually and having them all appear jagged. You can control the formatting with tables. And then I'll also show you how to use tables with images. So this way you can take a basic content area like you see here and add variety by putting like 2 or 3 columns and stacking images within them. So in the first example, I'm going to show you how to do tables for formatting with data. So the first thing you want to do is just click in roughly where you want the table to drop in. So I'm going to pick below this information here. And then up in the top is our table icon. You'll see right now all the others are grayed out. That's because we have not selected a table area as of yet. So I'm going to just click on the table icon. And the first thing that it's going to ask you are the number of columns and rows. So usually when you're creating the table and ready to insert it, it's good to have a rough idea of how big you want the table and how many rows or fields. You can always go back in and add more rows and columns and delete them. But initially I like to try to keep a rough idea. So in this one, we're going to put 3 columns and 5 rows. And I'm going to set the width to 500 pixels. You can always come back in and adjust the cell padding. It's if you want more space in between the different rows and columns, and alignment as well. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and do 3, 5, and then 500 and hit insert. Then what you'll see here is a table with 3 columns, 5 rows at 500 pixels. Now what you're going to want to do is designate the widths for each column, so this way it can again be spaced proportionally. So what you just do is you click in the first column, and like I said, you'll notice that these have now highlighted. This box here is for your table row properties, so all the cells within this one row would be affected by what you typed in here. This is your individual cell properties. This is for adding cells above, rows above or below your current row selected. And this is to delete a row that you want to remove from your table. And then likewise, you've got inserting columns and deleting columns, and then you've got merging cells. So in this one, we're going to go ahead and set the width of this cell to 100. We're going to set this one to 150. And this one to 250. So this way all the values equal up to 500, and we know that our cell dimensions are going to be proportionate. So what I'm just going to do here real quick is create just a generalized phone and email list so you can see how you could structure them. So I'm just going to type in the word general, and then we're just going to put a couple of names. And then over here, we're going to put their phone numbers. You'll notice initially that it's like centered as opposed to being top aligned. It's because, again, we did not yet go in and set the row alignment. If you want to do that now, you just click within the row, any cell within that row, go up to the row box, and then you've got your alignments. This is for your alignment of the table, your vertical alignment. We're going to assign to top. So now when I click in here, you'll see that it's already set to the top. So we'll do one for Mark. And then same for emails over here. We would just do Mark. And then you could do the same for another department like catering or something. And you could do the same thing. And I'll just copy a couple here just so I'm not. You can also, as you see here, copy and paste from other portions of websites or like Word documents into a table instead of typing it all in, just to save yourself on time. So now if you want to see how this looks, I'm just going to fold in here, just so it stands out. So now if you want to see how this looks structured on your live site, just going to click on the V, and you'll see now, instead of just someone going in and typing in the word mark as a paragraph and hitting space bar to get the phone numbers out, and the same with the emails, you could just use tables to go ahead and format it. Then you can likewise also go back in and say if there was too much space there, you could always go back and adjust the cell width to something shorter to make that look more defined. The other purpose for using a table, like I mentioned, was to work with images. As you see right now, you've got a big content area here, and then if you wanted to add an image over on the right, you drop in an image like normal, align it to the right. But if you also had an image on the left-hand side, you're going to start crossing into uncharted waters there and having images conflict with alignment. So if you're going to do stuff like that, it's easier to use it with a table. So again, I'll drop in a table here. In this one, we're going to define the columns as 3 in 2 rows. And I'm going to set, for this example, the width at 550. And we're going to define the width 200. 150 and 200. And again, this will sum up to be 550, just like on our table that we just set up. So now you could, at this point, drop in images in modules. So if you want to do random text or slideshow, and for an example, I'll just drop in a couple of images. So you just click within the cell that you want to add the image to, just like normal. Click on the icon, double click, and just add an image like you normally would. So in this case, I'm going to select this image, and I've predefined my width and height, so I know what's going to fit into there. And then I'm going to go ahead and add an image over here. And again, you'll see I didn't set the alignment to the top yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So you see now they're aligned to the top. So if I click on this image, I'm going to select the cheesecake image again. So this way you see now that you have 2 images, and then I can go ahead and add some text here. Okay, so for example, and then now you can go in and within this cell you can, align the wording, and maybe we do want this one to be, not set to the top, but maybe centered. So you'll see how you can control that. So now if I look at this in live mode, you see how you could take a page that normally you would have trouble trying to have an image over on the right side in the left by just placing images around, text. You can use a table to then structure it the way you want. And then if you go back in, you'll also see I've created an extra row here. So if I wanted to add more text below each of these images, as maybe like an ordered list or bulleted list or something like that, you're able to set a structure.